Hello everyone. In this session, we'll look on introduction to friction and application of friction, and in elaborate we'll discuss about clutches. What is friction? When a body slides over another body, there is a resistance between the moving body. The resistance offered by the sliding element against the body, against the another body, that is called frictional force, or simply we can refer it as friction. We have numerous applications of friction. There are basically two types of friction: dry friction or Coulomb friction, and fluid friction. Whenever we use grease or any lubricant, the surface having that is called fluid friction. Whenever the two surfaces are very dry, then that is dry friction or Coulomb friction. Few applications of the frictions are: first is screw friction. In this one, the frictional force between the internal thread and external thread is utilized to move the object. Example: screw jacks, and this is screw jack. So this is used to lift the load up and lower the load down. So screw jack is one of the example of a screw friction. Here the frictional force between the internal thread and external thread is utilized. So second example is lead screw and box nut in a lathe machine. So in lathe machine, to automatic movement, we use a lead screw and a box nut. There will be internal thread and there will be an external thread. So that is another example of a screw friction. And belt and rope drives. So here the movement of the belt and pulley will be having some frictional force. So this frictional force is utilized to drive the pulley, driving pulley and driven pulley. So this is another example of a friction. So there will be frictional force between pulley and the belt or chain or rope. And next one is thrust bearings. So at the end of the shaft, the surfaces of the shaft and the bearing exerts some frictional force. So we can utilize to withstand the end loads of the shaft for that. So that is another example. Next one is clutches. So clutches is nothing but the device which used to engage and disengage the shafts. So here there will be many frictional plates. There will be plates called friction plates, because it will having some frictional force between two plates. So that is used to engage and disengage the shaft and transmit power from one shaft to another shaft. So that is called clutches. And next example is brakes. So brakes is utilized to stop the rotating element. So there will be brake drum and brake shoe, and a frictional force is utilized to stop the rotating element. So this is another application of friction. Now we will elaborately look on friction clutches. So what is clutches? As I told you, it is a device to engage and disengage a shaft. Let us go, what is that? So the principal application is in engaging and disengaging a shaft, and also in transmission of the power of the shaft and machines, which must be started and stopped frequently. So we can utilize the clutches in machines also. Mainly we know that in automobile, clutches are widely used. Whenever we press the clutch pedal, it will disengage the shaft using some frictional plates, and if we release that, it will engage the shaft. So during the disengagement time, we can shift the gears. So for that, clutches are mainly used in automobiles. Similarly, this is another simple animation of a clutch. So this is disengaged. So now this is engaged. Whenever we press the clutch pedal, so this will disengage the shaft, and if we release that, it will engage the shaft. So this is a simple animation of friction clutches. Now we'll see the important things on the clutch engagement and disengagement. So the contact surfaces should develop a frictional force that may pick up and hold the load with reasonable low pressure between the contact surfaces. This is one of the requirements of a clutch. And heat of the friction should rapidly dissipated, and tendency to grab should be at minimum. The surfaces should be backed by a material stiff enough to ensure reasonable uniform distribution of pressure. So here the contact surface should develop a frictional force that the frictional force should be enough to hold the pressure variation between the contact surface. At the same time, it should if the heat of the friction increases, it should rapidly dissipate. So, and also the material should be stiff enough to ensure the uniform distribution of pressure. So these are all the requirement of a function of a very good clutch. So we have to select the material properly to have these observations, these requirements for the clutches. So next is the classification of the clutches. We have basically three classification: disc or plate clutches. That is further classified as single plate clutch or multi plate clutch, and cone clutches and centrifugal clutches. So here this is a normal widely used clutches, single plate clutch. There will be only one plate, and two surfaces which will be engaged in motion. That is single plate clutch. If we have several plates stacked together and use all the surfaces, then that is multi plate clutch. So both are similar in design. Only thing is, instead of having one plate, we'll be having multiple plates over here. And second is cone clutch. So here the cone clutch is similar to a single plate clutch. Instead of having a single plate, here there will be conical surface, the internal cone and external cone. The surface of the cone will be having some frictional surface. So this will be having some frictional surface. So that is the cone clutch. Next third thing is centrifugal clutch. It is something different from these types of clutches. Here it will be utilizing the speed. So whenever the vehicle reaches certain speed, then it will start engage the another shaft. So it will be used normally in the vehicles like a scooty. So if we move up to a particular speed, it will go slowly. If we increase the speed, the centrifugal clutch starts engaging and it will pick up the speed and it will move. So that is called centrifugal clutch. The another type of clutch is centrifugal clutch. So these clutches, single plate, multi plate clutch, are widely used in almost all the automobiles, and also in centrifugal clutches used in two-wheeler like type scooty, Activa, like that vehicles will be using centrifugal clutch. Now we'll go with the elaborately about single plate clutch and multi plate clutch. So here, as we told, that single plate clutch consists of a clutch plate whose both sides are faced with a frictional material. Only one plate, both sides will be faced with frictional material like this. So this one surface, another surface, both surface will be placed with a frictional material. So now here we'll look at some equations. Now considering two friction surface maintained in contact by an axial thrust W. So if we consider there is an axial thrust, axial force W here, and let us take T as a torque transmitted by the clutch and small p as the intensity of the axial pressure with which the contact surfaces are held together, and R1 and R2 are external and internal radii of the frictional phases, and let take mu as the coefficient of friction. Now coming to the equations, now small p, that is nothing but intensity of the pressure acting on the clutch. So here anyway here pressure will be acting on the clutches. So that will be nothing but pressure is load by area. Here it is given by load as the axial load acting over here, and here the area is, so this is actually a hollow cylinder. There will be inner radii and outer radii. So therefore the area of this one is giving here. So pi into R1 square minus R2 square. So since the intensity of the pressure varies inversely with distance, therefore we can take P into R as C, a constant. So therefore P into R equal to C, or P equal to C by R. So now there are two concepts in clutches while solving the problem. One is uniform pressure and another one is uniform wear. So if we consider uniform pressure theory, we have to follow these set of equations. So that means initially by default we have to consider the clutches as by uniform wear theory unless it is stated. So because the clutches will be having a uniform wear over the surface. So if we consider that is a uniform pressure, the total frictional torque on the frictional surface will be given by this equation, T equal to 2 pi into mu into W into pi into R1 square minus R2 square into R1 cube minus R2 cube by 3. So we can simplify the equation as 2 by 3 into mu into W into R. So here capital R, we can replace the capital R as 2 by 3 into R1 cube minus R2 cube divided by R1 square minus R2 square. Here if it is a single plate clutch, we have to use only mu into W into R, N into mu into W into R sometimes. So N represents number of the friction surfaces. So here subsequently if we consider that uniform wear, T equal to half into mu into W into R1 plus R2, generally mu into W into R. Here capital R is the mean radius of the friction surface is R1 plus R2 by 2. So in general we can write it in simple form. Before that we'll see some other points. So first this in general total frictional torque, total frictional torque acting on the surface can be given by T equal to N into mu into W into R, where n is the number of pairs of friction contact surfaces. By default n will be equal to 2 for single plate clutch, and for multi-plate clutch we have some equation for that. And here capital R is the mean radius of the friction surface. So here this capital R varies. So this one here, for capital R is 2 by 3 into this equation for uniform pressure theory, and R1 plus R2 by 2 for uniform wear theory. We can get this as a common equation. We can replace the capital R. If we follow uniform pressure theory, use this equation. If we follow uniform wear theory, use this equation. So now second point is, for a single plate clutch normally both sides are effective, so therefore we have to take n as by default as 2. Third thing is, since the intensity of the pressure is maximum at the inner radius, so we know that intensity of the pressure will be more at the inner side, so therefore we can take P max into R2 equal to C. Similarly, so in this equation we see P into R equal to C in general. So since the inner radius having a maximum pressure, so therefore P max into R we can write here as P max into R2, because R2 is the inner radius, equal to C. Similarly, intensity of the pressure is minimum at the outer radius, so similarly we can write P minimum into R1 equal to C. So this is another equation. So another point is, in case of new clutches the intensity of the pressure is approximately uniform, but in old clutch the uniform wear theory is more appropriate. So it depends on the how the clutches are utilized. For in general, for a new clutches uniform pressure theory is applicable. At the same time, if it is a old clutch, uniform wear theory is more approximate. So next thing is, the uniform pressure theory gives a high frictional torque than the uniform wear theory. So therefore, in case of frictional clutches, uniform wear theory should be considered unless otherwise stated. So as I told you earlier, uniform wear theory should be considered in clutches by default unless otherwise stated. It depends on the clutches, whether it is a new clutches or old clutches. So unless in the problem statement if it is not given, we have to follow uniform wear theory for clutches. Now coming to the multi-plate clutches. So we know that the same single plate clutch, if we have a multiple plates stacked together, then that is called multi-plate clutches. So it may be used when a large torque to be transmitted. Normally used in automobiles, machine tools, where large torque to be transmitted. So a single plate is not sufficient to transmit the power. So we have to have multiple plates. So like this, so we can have multiple plates stacked together and transmit the power and engage and disengage the shaft. So here we have two things, N1 and N2. We will be having two things. The N1 is number of discs on the driving shaft, and N2 is the number of discs on the driven shaft. So this is the equation where we have to use. So n small n equal to N1 plus N2 minus 1. So this gives how many number of pairs of contact surfaces are there in multi-plate clutch. So N1 is the number of discs on the driving shaft, and N2 is the number of discs on the driven shaft. We have to use this equation to determine the n. And here the same equations applicable. Torque is n into mu into w into r. Only thing is n we have to replace how many number of plates here, so that n is applicable here. So here R is same equation as in the previous cases. R is mean radius of the friction surface. If you have to follow uniform pressure theory, we have to use this equation. If you want to follow uniform wear theory, we have to use this equation. Now we'll go with a simple problem. Let us go with a problem. A plate clutch has 3 discs on the driving shaft and 2 discs on the driven shaft, provided 4 pairs of contact surfaces. The outside diameter of the contact surface is 240 mm and inside diameter is 120 mm. Assuming uniform pressure, first assuming uniform pressure and mu equal to 0.3, find the total spring load pressing the plates together to transmit 25 kilowatt at 1575 rpm. If there are 6 springs, each of stiffness 13 kN per meter, and each of the contact surfaces has worn away by 1.25 mm, find the maximum power that can be transmitted assuming uniform wear. Now let us go with the problem statement. So here this is a multiple plate clutch. So in this multi-plate clutch, the 3 discs are on the driving shaft, and 2 discs are on the driven shaft. So totally there are 5 discs. So by default N1 equal to 3 and N2 equal to 2. So if we substitute in this equation n1 plus n2 minus 1, then number of contact surface will be n equal to 4. So number of contact surface, the number of surface that is in contact is equal to 4. So now here they have given outside diameter and inside diameter. So d1 equal to 240 mm. So therefore r1 equal to 120 mm. d2 equal to 120 mm. Therefore r2 equal to 60 mm. So diameter and radius. And coefficient of friction mu is given and power is given. Power is 25 km. The clutch is transmitting power at 25 kilowatt. So 25 into 10 power 3 watt. And speed of the clutch is given, that is 1575 rpm. So therefore from n we can determine omega. So we know that omega equal to 2 pi n by 60. So therefore omega is 165 rads per second. So now initially we have to assume that that is an uniform pressure. So here they have stated that is uniform pressure. So assuming uniform pressure, we have to calculate the total spring load. Then we have to go with the uniform wear. So here find the maximum power that can be transmitted assuming uniform wear. So initially we have to assume uniform pressure. Later then we have to consider uniform wear. So by assuming uniform pressure, we have to determine the total spring load. So how to determine that? So we know that W as a total spring, let us take W as the total spring load and T as the torque transmitted. So we know that power P equal to T into omega. So therefore since we know power, we can determine T. So since P equal to T into omega, T can be determined by using this equation P by omega. So therefore 25 into 10 power 3 by 165, that will be giving us 151.5 Newton meter. So now consider the mean radius of the contact surface. Since this is initially we have considered uniform pressure, R equal to 2 by 3 R1 cube minus R2 cube by R1 square minus R2 square. By calculating this we get that is value as 0.0933 mm. So now we know that torque transmitted equal to N into mu into W into R. So we have calculated torque over here 151.5 Newton meter. So therefore substituting in this equation, we know that N is the number of surfaces. So here number of surface we calculated as 4 and mu is the coefficient of friction, that is given as 0.3, and W is that we have to determine. So R is nothing but here this equation. So by uniform pressure we get that as 0.0933. So substituting in this equation we get W as 1353 Newton. So this is the maximum pressure, maximum force that exerted, maximum axial load that is exerted on the shaft. But there are 6 springs. So here they have given there are 6 springs, each of stiffness 13 kilonewton per meter, and each of the contact surface as worn away by 1.25 mm. So therefore this will be an old clutch and all the contact surfaces are worn out by 1.25 mm. Considering that the stiffness of the spring, then total axial force will be reduced. So there will be reduction in the spring force. So there will be reduction in the total force by considering the spring force acting on it. So let us take number of springs as 6, that is given, and total contact surface of the spring is 8. So since there are 4 contact surfaces and both the sides the springs will be acting, so therefore we have to take contact surface of the springs as 8 and wear on each contact surface is 1.25. By multiplying this we will be getting total wear. So since 1.25 mm is wear on each contact surfaces, total wear is 8 into 1.25, that will be giving 10 mm or 0.01 meter. And stiffness of each spring is given, that is given as the question, 13 kilonewton per meter. So 13 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter. So therefore there will be reduction in, and how much the spring force reduce this total load, that we have to determine. So therefore there will be reduction in spring force, that is nothing but total wear into stiffness of the spring into springs. So total wear is this one. So 0.01 into this is stiffness of the spring, that is given as 13 into 10 cube. So 13 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter, and total number of springs is 6. So by substituting this we get 780 Newton as the reduction in the spring force. So therefore net axial load will be reduced. So total axial load is 1353 Newton and that will be reduced to 780. So 780 Newton of spring force will be acting on that. So therefore net axial load is 1353 minus 780, that will be giving us 573 Newton. So using this W we have to calculate the total torque acting on it. So now we know that now we have to come to the uniform wear theory. So now we have to determine the total maximum power that can be transmitted assuming uniform wear. So Now we have to consider the uniform wear theory. So by assuming by considering the uniform wear theory, we get R equal to R1 plus R2 by 2. So therefore substituting that, we will be getting 0.09 meter. So now torque transmitted will be the same equation, T equal to N into mu into W into R. So since the frictional surface is 4, number of frictional surface is 4 into 0.3 into, now here we have to use this W. So this is the net axial load currently acting. So therefore 573 Newton, 573 into, and this one, this R. So this R is 0.09. So therefore substituting that, we will be getting torque as 62 Newton per meter. We know that power is torque into angular velocity, so T into omega. So the omega is the same speed. So speed of the this one is 165 rads per second. So therefore substituting here, this should be 165. Substituting here, we will be getting 10.23 kilowatt. So net power acting on the clutch is 10.23 kilowatt. Thank you. If you have any doubts, put in the comment box. If you like this video, put like and subscribe. Thank you.